There was a champagne bottle in the fridge, unopened, still cold. I had bought it 2 weeks earlier for a night that never happened. She had texted me at 6:41 p.m. "Don't wait up." That was it. No smiley face. No "love you." Just a forward message that felt like a slap. The plan had been simple. I'd cook, she'd come home, we'd open the bottle and pretend, for one night, that things weren't falling apart. But instead, she went to Caleb's party. Yeah, Caleb, her ex. The one she said she had no feelings for. The one whose name she couldn't even say without curling her lip, until recently. Funny how that works. I remember I stood in the kitchen for almost an hour after reading that message. Not doing anything. Not moving. Just holding a dish towel in my hand like it was a weapon I didn't know how to use. The lasagna was already in the oven. The table was set. I even lit one of those overpriced candles she liked, the one that smelled like fig and regret. I didn't text her back. I didn't call. I just stood there and let the silence fill the room like smoke. I don't know what hurt more, the fact that she chose to go to his place, or that she wanted me to know she did. Because this wasn't an accident. This wasn't a spontaneous reunion. No, this was a performance. A calculated show designed to make me feel small. And it worked. I felt microscopic. She wasn't just out to have fun. She wanted to punish me. For what? For being boring? For getting older? For not being the guy with the tattoos and the old vinyl records? At 11:19 p.m., I opened the champagne alone. Not out of celebration, just to hear something break. I took one sip. Then I poured it down the drain. She didn't come home that night. I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, listening to every passing car like it might be hers. But it never was. When the sun came up, I got dressed slowly. Not for work. Not for errands. I was getting dressed for the end. And while she thought I'd be pacing the floor, obsessively checking my phone, wondering if she was still wrapped around him, I was already halfway through what she'd never expect. I was leaving without making a sound. The front door creaked open at 8:04 a.m. I know because I set the hallway camera to ping me the moment it did. She hadn't even bothered to text. Not a good morning. Not an apology. Not even a fake excuse like, "I fell asleep on the couch." Nothing. The footage was almost funny, in a tragic sort of way. There she was, Lorraine, standing in the doorway in last night's dress, heels in one hand, hair a little too messy for just sleeping. She looked around the entryway like someone expecting a scolding or maybe a confrontation. But what she got was worse. Silence. No scent of breakfast. No sound of the shower. No mug on the counter with her name printed in cursive like I used to leave for her every morning. No me. Just cold, motionless air. She called out my name once. Just once. Not loud. Not afraid. More like someone checking if the pet they forgot to feed was still alive. Then she saw the note. I had left it folded on the kitchen table, propped up against the bottle of champagne. Still cold, still unopened, like a ghost from the night she skipped. The note said, "I didn't wait up. I woke up." I wonder if she even understood what I meant. I didn't write pages. I didn't pour my heart out in teary pen marks like I used to. No, I gave her what she gave me. A message without warmth. A sentence with more meaning than she deserved. But I hadn't just left a note. I'd left proof. On the counter next to the fridge was a manila envelope with photos. Not the kind that come from betrayal, but from preparation. Bank statements. Lease transfer documents. My resignation letter, signed and dated. Even a business card from the property manager of a condo across town, my new address. I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't storming out for attention. I had been planning this since the first night she turned her back on me during a fight and muttered, "You used to be someone." Used to be. Like I was a phase. A worn-out pair of shoes she kept around just in case the weather turned bad. She forgot I still had laces. The best part? I had transferred the entire rent payment, her half too, to cover the final month. I left her the apartment, the furniture, the bed she no longer slept in beside me. But I took the mattress cover, the towels I paid for, the PS5, and both cats. Sorry, but Whiskers never liked her, and Loki always hissed when she walked in after midnight. She didn't see this coming because she never believed I had a spine. And honestly, maybe I didn't. Not until she spent the night at Caleb's just to twist the knife. She wanted to hurt me. She wanted to prove she could. But she didn't realize something. When you leave someone out in the cold long enough, they stop waiting by the door. They learn to build their own. And I wasn't just gone, I had locked it behind me. I watched the camera feed from my phone while sitting in a quiet cafe on the other side of the city, sipping a bitter coffee that tasted better than 6 years of swallowing my pride. Lorraine stood motionless in the kitchen for a while, just staring at the envelope like it might bite her. Then she opened it, slowly, like she was unwrapping something sacred. I almost laughed. She flipped through the papers. Her mouth twitched once. Not sadness, not regret, just confusion. She didn't get it. Not yet. She thought this was a tantrum, a performance. She didn't understand this wasn't me storming off like a wounded puppy. This was me walking out as a man who finally realized his worth. She picked up her phone. And no, she didn't call me. She called Caleb. I didn't even need the audio. I saw the way her lips moved. Tight, fast, panicked. Her hand kept going to her forehead like she was trying to keep her brain from melting. Her back straightened in that way she always did when she was lying to someone, but needed them to believe she wasn't. She looked nervous. Good. She paced the kitchen as she talked, one hand gripping the counter like it was keeping her upright. Then she stopped and turned toward the camera, eyes darting right into the lens like she remembered it was there. Her lips froze midward. The call ended a few seconds later. I guess she realized I'd seen enough. 15 minutes passed before she tried calling me. I let it ring. Not because I was trying to play hard to get, but because I wasn't sure if I could trust myself to speak. If I heard her voice, I might still say something soft, something weak, something I'd regret. So I let the phone buzz in my coat pocket like it didn't matter, like she didn't matter. Then the text came. What is this? Where are you? Are you really doing this? Jonah, come on. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. That word got to me. She sleeps over at her ex's house after deliberately telling me not to wait up, and I'm the one being ridiculous? I turned my phone off. I spent the next 2 hours walking through a part of the city we never went to together. It felt like claiming new territory. I passed a bookstore, went inside, and bought a novel I'd never heard of. I sat in the park and read the first chapter. I fed a squirrel. I breathed like the air was mine again. By late afternoon, I checked back in on the apartment through the camera. She was gone. So was the envelope, the champagne bottle, and, oddly, the tablecloth. Maybe she needed something to cling to. But what she left behind? The framed photo of our wedding that had hung above the mantel since year 2. She'd taken it down. I guess it didn't match the decor of her new storyline. Good. Neither did I. I hadn't blocked her. Not yet. Not because I was holding on, but because I knew she'd try again. And I wanted to see how low she'd go to claw her way back into a life she lit on fire just to feel a spark. She thought I'd come crawling. She had no idea what was coming next. It was 9:17 p.m. when the first knock came. Not a frantic, guilt-soaked pounding. Just a firm, calculated knock. Like she expected I'd be sitting in the dark somewhere near the door, waiting for her to return like some abandoned dog. I didn't move. I didn't flinch. I just sat there on the floor of my new apartment, back against the wall, lights off, listening to the sound of her trying to pretend nothing had happened. Another knock. Then silence. Then her voice, soft, like she was talking to a frightened child. Jonah, I just want to talk. Can you open the door, please? I nearly laughed out loud. She used that exact tone once when calming down a stray cat she hit with her car. I remember how fake it sounded even then. And now? It just echoed in the hallway like a scene from a bad drama. She waited, then knocked again. I didn't answer. I knew she'd eventually figure out this wasn't my apartment anymore. The old one, the place we shared? I had turned over the lease that morning. She could have it. Let her fill it with whatever she wanted. Caleb's guitar picks, scented candles, her little lies. Me? I had a new address, new locks, and more peace in 12 hours than I'd felt in the last 3 years. Then my phone buzzed. She was calling. Again. I watched the screen flash her name. I let it ring out. Again. Seconds later, a new text popped up. Just one line. Please don't do this. Do what, Lorraine? Respect myself? Stop letting your weaponized indifference keep me in a relationship where I felt like a footnote? There was a time I would have opened that door on the first knock. A time when I would have begged her to stay. Apologized for things I didn't even do just to make the silence go away. But now, I welcomed the silence. I let it settle over me like a blanket I didn't know I needed. An hour passed before she gave up. I heard the elevator ding. Then the hallway camera pinged again. She was standing there, alone, rubbing her eyes, holding her phone like she didn't know what to do without me on the other end of it. And that's when I realized something strange. She wasn't just upset because I left. She was scared because I didn't chase her. Her entire plan had relied on me being predictable, on me sulking, crying, groveling. She thought spending the night at Caleb's would set off a storm she could control. But I didn't storm. I disappeared. And for the first time in her life, she wasn't in control of the narrative. This wasn't just a reaction. It was a rewrite. And the next chapter wasn't hers to tell anymore. It wasn't Lorraine who finally made me pick up my phone. It was Caleb's fiancée. Yeah, fiancée. I didn't even know he was engaged. Her name was Brinley. Never met her. Never even heard Lorraine mention her. But apparently, she existed. And apparently, she wasn't supposed to know about the party, or the overnight guest, or the fact that Lorraine, my wife, had been blowing up her soon-to-be husband's phone for weeks under the name Monica in his contacts. I found that out around noon, 3 days after Lorraine showed up at my new place and left empty-handed. Brinley messaged me on Instagram of all places, said she'd found my name from an old photo Lorraine had posted years ago with the caption, "My whole world." Funny how the internet never forgets, even when people do. Her message was short, polite, too polite. "Hi, I know this is weird. My name's Brinley. I think we should talk. It's about Lorraine and Caleb." At first, I thought it was a prank. Then I clicked on her profile. It wasn't private. Her feed was full of wedding planning posts, bridesmaid dresses, custom invitations, even cake samples. Caleb featured in all of them, smiling like the sleaze he probably is. They had a date set for next spring. Deposits paid. Venue booked. I messaged back, cautiously. 10 minutes later, we were on the phone. Her voice cracked within the first minute. She told me she'd found Lorraine's bracelet in Caleb's bathroom drawer, hidden beneath a pile of old cologne bottles. A bracelet she'd seen before. One Lorraine used to wear in every Instagram photo until she lost it. She said Caleb brushed it off, claimed he didn't know whose it was. But the initials engraved inside? Yeah, they spelled out Lorraine's maiden name. That wasn't even the worst part. Apparently, Lorraine wasn't just at the party that night. She stayed the next day, too. Told Brinley she was Caleb's old college friend crashing for a bit. Brinley was out of town with her family. She came home early. Found Lorraine in one of Caleb's hoodies, barefoot in the kitchen making eggs like she lived there. And you know what Lorraine said when Brinley walked in? "Relax. It's not what it looks like." Where have I heard that before? Brinley didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just left. Drove around aimlessly for 2 hours. Then started digging. And eventually, she found me. That phone call changed something in me. I hadn't planned on getting involved. I wasn't interested in revenge, or exposing anyone, or stirring the pot. I just wanted peace. But after hearing Brinley's voice crack as she whispered, "I feel like an idiot," I knew I couldn't sit on the sidelines anymore. This wasn't just betrayal. This was coordinated cruelty. And maybe Lorraine thought she could walk all over me. Maybe she assumed I'd stay silent like always. But what she didn't count on was me teaming up with the one person who had more to lose than I did. Brinley and I had a plan by the end of that call. And Lorraine? She was still busy trying to get me to talk to her. She had no idea I was already talking to someone else. Lorraine showed up again on a Friday afternoon. Same coat, same smug look, like the first attempt hadn't gone completely sideways. She didn't knock this time. She buzzed the front gate and waited exactly 4 seconds before calling me directly. When I didn't answer, she buzzed again. Longer this time. Like the gate might open if she just held her finger down long enough. I let her stand there. I didn't feel guilty about it. I sat at my desk and watched through the building's security app, watching her pace back and forth in front of the gate, muttering to herself. She wasn't angry. Not yet. She looked calculated. Like she thought this was her moment to reel me back in. Like she was doing me a favor by being there. When she realized I wasn't letting her in, she leaned into the call box again and said, "Jonah, I know you're watching. Can we please just talk like adults?" I came to apologize. Apologize. I almost opened the gate just to see how well she could lie to my face. But I didn't need to. Because the real plan wasn't about a confrontation. It was about timing. And the timing was perfect. Just as Lorraine turned to leave, her phone buzzed. She stopped mid-step. Read the screen. Her entire posture changed. You could see it in her shoulders, the way her hand trembled slightly as she clutched the phone closer to her face. Brinley had just sent her a screenshot. One photo. A zoomed-in image of Lorraine wearing Caleb's hoodie in his kitchen, hair wet, cooking eggs. Brinley had written one line with it. "You told me to relax." I suggest you do the same. It was the first domino, and I had a front row seat as Lorraine's little empire of secrecy began to topple. Within 5 minutes, she was calling Caleb. He didn't answer. Then she tried Brinley. Denied. She tried again. Denied. She looked like someone who realized they'd locked themselves out of every room they thought they controlled. I watched her pace, spin, stop, check her phone, then finally slumped down on the low concrete wall by the flower beds, eyes darting wildly like she was searching for a reset button. That's when I called her. She jumped at the sound, fumbled to answer. "Jonah," she breathed, voice already warbling. I didn't say hello. I said, "You thought you were playing two quiet people. Turns out we talk louder when we work together." Her silence was immediate. Not even a breath. Not even a whimper. I imagined her sitting there, the screen pressed to her cheek like it might disappear if she held it tight enough. Then I said something I never thought I'd have the courage to say. "I'm not here to help you fix this. I'm here to make sure you feel it." She whispered something, maybe please or wait. I honestly don't know. I hung up before I could hear the end of it. That night, Brinley sent me a video. It was Caleb being confronted. She had hidden her phone in her pocket. The man could barely get a sentence out. Tried blaming me, said Lorraine was troubled, said I was manipulating the situation. Brinley didn't scream. She just let him talk until he ran out of lies. Then she handed him the ring back. That was our deal. No screaming, no revenge porn-level chaos. Just quiet, controlled impact. But Lorraine wasn't used to quiet consequences. She was used to storms, blow-ups, drama she could navigate, not silence that closed every door she thought she had a key to. And by the end of that night, her world was no longer hers. By Saturday, Lorraine had done what she always did when control slipped through her fingers. She flipped the narrative. Hard. She started with mutual friends. I heard from one of them, Marcus, the only person from our wedding party who still talked to me. He messaged me out of the blue and said, "Hey man, Lorraine's telling people you had some kind of breakdown, that you left her out of nowhere, and now you're spiraling. Is everything all right?" I actually laughed out loud. Spiraling? Please. If drinking chamomile tea and sleeping 8 hours a night was spiraling, then I was in free fall and loving it. But that wasn't the worst part. She was telling people I had been emotionally distant for years, that she tried everything, but I wouldn't open up, that she spent months trying to save the marriage while I retreated into silence and resentment, that she only leaned on Caleb for emotional support after feeling completely abandoned. I didn't know whether to scream or applaud the performance. She knew exactly how to play the victim without sounding obvious. It wasn't just lies, it was sculpted lies. Ones wrapped in enough truth to sound believable to people who weren't paying close attention. And most people don't pay close attention. That's when I realized this wasn't over. Not until I showed everyone that I had receipts, and I wasn't afraid to show them anymore. So I did something I'd avoided for weeks. I wrote a letter. Not to her, to everyone. I didn't blast it on social media. I wasn't looking to go viral or get pity comments. I sent it directly, privately, to every mutual friend we had, to her mother, to her sister, to the colleagues she used to gossip about over wine. Everyone who mattered in her carefully managed web. I didn't rant. I didn't curse. I didn't slander. I just laid it out, calmly, factually. I detailed the night she told me not to wait up and then stayed at her ex's place. I explained the documents I left behind, the silence that followed, the night she stood outside my apartment trying to lie her way back in. I even included Brinley's message, with her permission, just the part where she found Lorraine in Caleb's hoodie, making eggs like it was her second home. I ended the letter with one sentence. I didn't walk away because I gave up. I walked away because she made it clear I was never supposed to stay. I hit send, and then I turned off my phone for the rest of the day. By the next morning, my inbox was full. People who hadn't talked to me in months were suddenly writing paragraphs. Some apologized. Some were shocked. Some admitted they believed her, until now. And Lorraine? Oh, she knew. She must have woken up to a flood of texts asking for her side. She posted some vague quote on her story about 2 sides to every story and healing in private. But she didn't deny anything directly. Because she couldn't. The evidence was out. The silence was over. The version of me she used to manipulate had died the night she told me don't wait up. And whatever she thought she'd recover from the ashes was already gone. But I wasn't finished yet. There was one final move left. A quiet goodbye she'd never see coming. I never told her where I moved. That was intentional. I needed distance, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I couldn't heal while being within arm's reach of someone who used silence as punishment and intimacy as leverage. So I vanished quietly, changed my number, removed her access to everything. Bank accounts, streaming services, even the Spotify playlist we once called us. But she figured it out eventually. A week after the letter, a friend of a friend must have slipped. I got a ping from the apartment building's front desk. Someone was there asking for me. A woman, blonde, mid-30s, tight expression, said her name was Lorraine. I didn't go down. Instead, I left something with the concierge a few days earlier, just in case. They handed her an envelope with her name on it. Simple, unsealed, no drama. Inside was a key, but not to my apartment, to a storage unit a few blocks away. I wasn't being cruel. I just didn't want a scene. Inside that storage unit was a neat stack of every piece of her life she'd left behind in our old place. Her books, her records, a few framed photos, that stupid ceramic wine holder shaped like a giraffe. I even included a USB drive with all our digital memories, wedding photos, vacation clips, videos of us laughing before everything turned heavy. And on top of it all, I left one final letter. It wasn't angry. It wasn't bitter. I'd already let all of that go. Here's what it said. You once said I was predictable, that I'd always be there, that I didn't know how to let go. You were right, for a while. But people change. Sometimes the best closure isn't a fight or a scream. It's a quiet ending. No more games. No more pain. We both lost something, but I've decided to find what's next. I hope you do too. That was it. No signature. No forwarding address. No way back. I heard she stood in that storage unit for almost an hour. Didn't take anything at first. Just stood there. Then she sat on the concrete floor and cried. By the time she left, the box with the giraffe was gone. That was all she took. And me? I was already somewhere else. Somewhere new. I signed a lease on a place by the river. It's small, bright, and quiet. I started taking long walks every morning before work. I joined a cooking class, not because I needed to learn, but because I wanted to remember what it felt like to do something for me. I even met someone. Slowly, carefully, nothing dramatic. Just coffee that turned into conversations that didn't drain me. She knows my story, the real one. And still, she smiles. It's strange how healing doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like peace. Like a Sunday morning where no one's walking on eggshells. Like laughing over burnt toast and not apologizing for it. Lorraine taught me how to survive. But life, this new life, it's teaching me how to live.